Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to the journey. Excuse me. Excuse me. Welcome back to the journey to greatness with David McDonald, the GOAT. Day 158, 365. Morning, Liz. Good morning, everybody. All right. I'll see you guys on the other side. Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. Excuse me 1 second. All right, so we just finished our meditation routine, and now we're getting into our journey reading routine. Let's see here. Man, there's so many good books in the lineup. I don't know which one to choose from. And I say that we're reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Holy smokes. I was at a seminar yesterday, and in the seminar, there was a gentleman named Jeremy who was giving his presentation, and then he goes, yeah, and lead and lag measures, right? Like just so like nonchalantly. He's like, wait, do you guys know what those are? And I turned around, I was like, holy smokes. I was like, 40X. 40X is the 4 Disciplines of Execution, which is the book that we read, a couple months ago, which is absolutely amazing. And then he was talking about keeping scoreboards and having a cadence of accountability, and just the things that he was saying it just hit me right in my heart. And I was just like, dude, we're doing this. Like, what are the chances that we read that book and then 3 months later we're at like a really motivational seminar and they bring up the book? And then he talked about the 12 pillars, the pillars, which coincides with the book I'm writing for real estate, and the 12 pillars, which help influence some of my philosophy and my ideology in the book. And so he was just talking about pillars, this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I need to finish writing this book. So anyway, it was just another testament to say that, yay, we're doing the right thing, and it feels great. So with that being said, you guys enjoy your reading session. I'm going to enjoy mine. I'll see you on the other side. Mm. Ding, 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 ding. Whoa. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Holy smokes. This book is crazy right now. Everybody who was with us yesterday, we're getting ready to run to the six fears. And what it looks like is Napoleon's getting ready to break down each fear. So we just read about fear. One second. Yeah, the six ghosts of fear. So we just talked about fear of poverty. Or we just read about fear of poverty. Poverty. Let's see here. And we have a lot to talk about. Okay. We'll come back. So we just finished our reading routine. Now now we're going to get into our journaling routine. So our journaling routine, I'm sorry everybody who said good morning. I can't see for whatever reason the messages on the live screen here on my messenger board. So just bear with me, and I'll respond after our session. So we are in our journaling routine now, and one second, let me number my page. We're on day 139 in our journals. How amazing. It's a little off because we added this component after we had started the journey to greatness in the beginning. It's evolved so much. But with our journals, I usually like to start off by writing about what I'm grateful for, which is waking up and being in exceptional health, which is crazy because one of the biggest fears of life that Napoleon Hill talks about is the fear of ill health. Who would have thought? I wouldn't, because I'm like, yeah, good health all the time. Never get sick. Not even once a week. Not even once a year anymore. It's crazy. But I'm grateful for that. Just being in exceptional health every day. I tell myself that. So it wouldn't surprise me to consider otherwise. But then I go in to show respects to yesterday. I think it's, they say for success to come, you have to show, gratitude for where you are. Every single day, the stuff that you work for every single day, and then the small things, being able to digest your food or eat or what have you, or successes, things that you wanted to happen yesterday that did happen. You don't have to do anything, but what I like to do is stop and then, recognize and shine a light on everything that happened the day before and be grateful for it and mention those grateful, why I'm grateful for it. And then for anything futuristic, anything I wish to plan to have to happen, whether it's, today or next week or so on and so forth, then I write about those things. So if you need some help with that, just reach out to me and let me know. But otherwise, I will see you on the other side. Okay. So it is. All right. So welcome back. Welcome back. Okay. So now we're running towards those things that hold us back from achieving our highest selves. Yesterday, I was at this training seminar, and it was for real estate agents. Shout out to Jeremy Poole for inviting me. And there was a gentleman there, Mr. Mitchell, and he closed 116 million transactions last year in AZ in Arizona, and his team did 230 million. So his personal gross income was maybe like 1.4. And when I tell you guys, with my ear to the street or with my ear to the market, to the industry, that what we're doing is very, very different, and it's very, very awesome, and it's very, very like streamlined right to success. I guarantee you that it is. And I say that with no disclaimer, because the only way that we'll ever know is by going through experience. And then when we experience things, we'll know and see how the activities we do on a daily basis impact or affect our lives, our discussions, the way we interact with people, so on and so forth. So I say all of that to say we're doing very good, and we should just keep it up. So yesterday we were talking about, I did get to role play, however, yesterday in front of the audience, and it was cool. It was really cool, actually. And they had objections, and I was just like, all right, this is like second nature to me. I do this every single day, real estate talk. But yeah, it was really cool. But this chapter is really going to be awesome for us to read and go through, because it talks about the 6 basic fears. Fear can destroy your life. And I truly believe that. So as we go through this chapter, I want you, or it's suggested that we reflect against these words and these offering of opinions against our own life and work through them. So let me see here. So the remainder of this chapter, which is the chapter on, just so we have everything correct here, the sixth sense. The remainder of this chapter describes an end which must be attained before the philosophy as a whole can be put into practical use. It also analyzes a condition which has but lately reduced huge numbers of people to poverty, and it states a truth which must be understood by all who accumulate riches, whether measured in terms of money or a state of mind of far greater value than money. The purpose of this chapter is to turn the spotlight attention upon the cause and the cure of the 6 basic fears. Before we can master an enemy, we must know its name, its habits, and its place of abode, which is where it lives. As you read, analyze yourself carefully and determine in which, if any, of the 6 common fears have attached themselves to you. That's one of the primary strengths and positivities of coaching. We shine light on the darkness, knowing what it's there, how it's there. We were talking about this yesterday about rituals, inserting a ritual where your mind goes into a negative spiral of depreciation, and pointing out what your weaknesses are, pointing out what your strengths are, and then understanding how those things work in your life, and then taking the proactive step to correct and to better those weaknesses and even those strengths, make them stronger, is one of the key ways to overcome fear. Run toward it and conquer it. So the 6 basic fears are the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of the fear of loss of love of someone, the fear of old age, the fear of death. Personally, I will never be poor because poor is a mindset. I believe that. The fear of criticism. Who cares about what people think about you? Do what you want. The fear of ill health. Every day we wake up and we're in exceptional health. That's not really a problem. The fear of loss of love of someone. At the end of the day, the only thing you can do is love yourself greater than anybody else can love you. And then you send those love extensions to everyone else, even if they say they don't love you. Live your life in a life of love. The fear of old age. I can't wait to get old. The older that we get, the more wisdom we gain, the more we can give back to people. How amazing. And the fear of death. When death comes and strikes us, I think it's going to be I think death is a very beautiful experience. Yeah, you lose a person or you lose people around you who you care about. But when you really think about death, like depending on what your outlook is on like what the next step is, it's actually a really cool process. And the time that you spend on earth self-realizing who you are, I think that makes the transition into death and makes you less fearless of death. I think death is a beautiful thing. No matter the mannerisms and how, I'm not talking about how death is achieved, but just being released and sent to the higher power, I think is a wonderful thing. So I guess I don't really have too many fears for these ones, but those are just some alternative perspectives to, these things, if, just as a basis. But feel free, obviously, to create your own. Fears are nothing more than states of mind. Well, there you go. One state of mind is subject to control and direction. One's state of mind is subject to control and direction. Physicians, as everyone knows, are less subject to attack by disease than ordinary laymen, for the reason that physicians do not fear disease. They're doctors. Doctors don't get sick, do they? I don't think so. And if they did, they just call up their buddy and say, hey, man, I'm feeling this kind of way. What do I do? I don't think that I really do. I mean, I don't know. I can't really give an opinion on it too much because there's some people who, I don't know. For me, if I get a cough or my throat gets itchy, I don't consider that getting sick. I don't care if I'm in my bed and I'm bedridden. I am not sick. Like, that's how I look at it. I'm not sick. My body is responding to something, whatever it may be, but I never define myself as sick. I never say, oh, I am sick. I never say that. I never allow that to consume my mind. And if I was to ever become to a state where that was the reality, quote unquote, right? Not my reality, but just a reality. I would never say it. I don't care what it is. I would just be like, no, I'm not sick. I'm not sick. And some people are like, oh, you're crazy. That's not reality. You're obviously in bed. You're obviously paying the doctor's note for it, right? But again, I think it's just mindset. It doesn't matter how crazy or severe it may appear to be. The moment that you allow that idea that I am sick to creep in your mind, you're screwed. There is no chance of coming back from anything. You're going to live that out and you're going to be there until you get to a point where you're starting to feel, I'm better. Oh, yeah, I'm better. I don't know. There's people who suffer from sickness. There's people who suffer from, things like that. And it sucks. And I just send love and light to them and their families. So that's why I'm just like, But for me personally, I can speak on that. And that's what I would do. Thought impulses, which are picked up through the ether by mere chance. Thoughts which have been released by other minds may determine one's financial, business, professional, or social destiny. Just as surely as do the thought impulses which one creates by intent and design. We are here laying the foundation for the presentation of a fact of great importance to the person who does not understand why some people appear to be lucky while others of equal or greater ability, training, and experience, the brain capacity, seem destined to ride with misfortune. This fact may be explained by the statement that every human being has the ability to completely control his own mind. And with this control, obviously, every person may open his mind to the tramp thought impulses which are being released by other brains, or close the doors tightly and emit only thought impulses of his own choice. We have the ability to choose our thoughts, right? So people who walk around saying, oh, woe is me, I never get lucky, life's, oh my God, all these bad things keep happening to me. I hear that often. All those bad things keep happening to you because that's what you're focusing on. You're not supposed to focus on the bad things that are happening to you. And that's where the senses confuse you. That's a perfect situation. Your senses are telling you, holy shoot, this is chaos. This is crazy, no matter what the scale is or how big or how small, right? This is chaos. Oh my God, because it's different for everybody. This is chaos. Oh my God. But you have to rise above it. You have to live on an energy wavelength that is higher than your senses. And that's where you're able to say, I have $1 million, even though your bank account's not there. Your senses are like, oh my God, I have to pay my bills. That's not reality. Yes, it is. That's the sixth sense. That's the higher level of thinking. That is an easy description of the picture. So what the book is saying on that, that's what the book is saying, of course. So those people who ride around with misfortune and those people who appear to be lucky, all of this is pre-manifested. Like we're manifesting and creating this reality right in front of us. This is a sneak peek because I know a lot of people they haven't seen it yet because I haven't released it, but I'm going to release it today. So it's a sneak peek for everybody who's on at 5 a.m. in the morning. So DMD luxury real estate brand is dropping today. So I'm going to drop that today. 2.5 years ago when I was still living in an apartment, right? I was getting blasted with this from this gentleman who's a real estate agent. He's like one of the top 10 in the state, but he was newslettering me for all of his multi-million-dollar listings. And so I was inspired by him, and I said, that's a really good idea. I'm going to have a luxury brand one day. 2.5 years later or 2 years later, now I'm creating one. And my whole point here is I remember I had it because I had a desk, and then I had both of my monitors, and I had like a big whiteboard right here on my right on the wall, and there was a closet right here in my apartment. And I remember when I received that email, I said, wow, this is a really good idea. He has a built-in newsletter inside of his email. And he said, his company was called VDB Estates. And I was like, okay, well, DMD Lux. And I was like, DMD Estates. And I wrote it there. And then I wrote his initials there because I was like, okay, that's like where my inspiration came from. And now we're creating that, which is really cool. So the whole point of me telling you that story is we are the underlying creators, and we are the underlying creators of our reality. Because had I not had that thought that I was going to create a Lux brand, well, then everything that comes with creating a Lux brand wouldn't have come. You got to get a transaction. You got to get clients. You got to get that fill in that mold. And a Lux brand is considered anything really over 899,000, right? I've defined it a little bit differently. So let me continue and not get off track here. Yesterday at that seminar, okay, the gentleman that was so the book here just says every person may open his mind to the tramp thought impulses which are being released by other brains, so other people, or close the doors tightly and emit only the thought impulses of his own choice. Yesterday when we were listening, and this is the thing, I've been stressing this all week. We have been putting in work. So this gentleman that was talking yesterday, there was a guy in the audience who said, his name was Matthew. He said, hey man, how was it like when you first got into real estate? Or he's like, I got in, and then the speaker, he responded. He said, hey, I got in, everything was great. And 2009 lit me up. He got beat up, his market crashed, this, that, and the other. He was a multimillionaire at the time. And they always say your first million is the hardest to make. The second, third, fourth, all that other millions, that's all easy. You gotta make that first million, because then you have the formula of success. The activities to do to get there, right? And so he lost everything, multi-million-dollar lifestyle, right? And then he filed bankruptcy. Okay, he was beat up. He went through a hard time. Blah 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 blah. 2018. Now 9 years later, or 10 years later. 11, 10, 2000. What did I say? 2008 or 2009? 2009. Yeah. Coming late. Now this time later, 6 years later. Yeah. Sorry, my cylinders aren't firing. I promise you I'm a pro at this. But now all this time later, now he's a millionaire again. And so what he said was, he's like, I remember there was telemarketers calling me, there was foreclosure companies calling me, there was bill companies calling me, and I just had to push all of this stuff out of the way so that I could keep my vision clear. He's like, I had to keep the doors closed. My mind was so focused on the goal that nothing that anybody else said to me mattered. He was like, and then he's like, did you always have this confidence? Like the gentleman in the audience, like, did you always have this confidence? And he was like, well, I always knew I was going to be great. And I'm just like, boom, that's it. So my point is this. We have the ability to allow other people's thoughts and influences to jump into our minds. So we have to be very conscientious about who we're surrounding ourselves with, right? Yes, of course, it's so cliche, but no, really. Who we're surrounding ourselves with and how we're allowing their opinions to affect us. If it's a significant other, then you just have to explain and say, hey, this is what we're going through. Understand this. Understand this. We will never be in this place again. And when this wave is over, it's going to be crazy. Our life is going to be transcended to so many different playing fields. And so let me just continue. So hopefully I was able to explain that. Don't allow people to get into your head. Just focus and keep your thoughts tightly grained to your path and to your journey. Nature has endowed man with absolute control, but one thing, and that is thought. Nature has endowed man with absolute control over but one thing, and that is thought. Nature controls everything except our thoughts. This fact, coupled with the additional fact that everything which man creates begins in the form of thought, leads one very near to the principle by which fear may be mastered. Fear is just a thought. So if we're in control of our thoughts, if we master our thoughts and we master who we are, so we work toward understanding and continuously evolving ourselves, then all of those fears that we just talked about, they're defined a different way. The people of America, this is a crazy concept right here. This is a wild concept. The people of America began to think of poverty following the Wall Street crash of 1929. Slowly but surely, the mass was crystallized into the physical equivalent, which was known as a depression. This had to happen in its conformity with the natures of law. I believe in humanity. Everything that's going on in the world right now is pretty interesting and, to say the least, sad. But the thing is as people, we have to keep our faith. We have to keep hoping in each other that we're going to figure this out. If we go into a state where it's like, oh my God, fear cripples us. Fear cripples us. And in this example, it's saying that if everybody on a large scale, the energy of everybody's mindsets are on the same wavelength of we're going to go into poverty, that everybody around is getting collateral damage and we're all experiencing poverty because the masses of people are saying, wow, there is a lot of racism going on. Wow, there's a lot of killing going on, which there is. My point here is as a mass, and we can only start one person at a time, which is us, right? But if a mass of people believe something, then the natural law of the nature will see it to be true, to reality. Whoa. You know the road that leads to riches. You have been given the roadmap, which, if followed, will keep you on that road. If you neglect to make the start or stop before you arrive, no one will be able to. There will be no one to. There will be. No one will be able to blame but you. The responsibility is yours. No alibi will save you from accepting the responsibility if you now fail or refuse to demand riches of life, because the acceptance calls for but one thing. Incidentally, the only thing you can control, and that is the state of mind. But it is sufficient to destroy one's chances of achievement in any undertaking, a truth which became painfully evident during the Depression. This fear paralyzes the faculty of reason, destroys the faculty of imagination, kills off self-reliance, undermines enthusiasm, discourages initiative, leads to uncertainty of purpose, encourages procrastination, wipes out enthusiasm, and makes self-control an impossibility. It takes the charm from one's personality, destroys the possibility of accurate thinking, diverts concentration of effort, it masters persistence, turns the willpower into nothingness, destroys ambition, beclouds the memory, and invites failure in every conceivable form. It kills love and assassinates the finer emotions of the heart, discourages friendships, and invites disaster in hundreds of forms, leads to sleeplessness, misery, and unhappiness. And all this despite the obvious truth that we live in a world of overabundance of everything the heart could desire, with nothing standing between us and our desires, accepting lack of a definite purpose. One second. That's powerful. And I hope that resonates with everyone. I hope it does, because the fear of poverty is, that's not, no. We can't have that. It destroys everything that we know. And it's just a mindset. And that's wild to me. Yeah, that's really wild. Run towards your fears. Try things that you haven't tried before, and be the best person. Be the best person you can be today and forever. I heard a concept in college, and now we're getting ready to sign off. I heard a concept in school that told us that the reason why America is so powerful is because they have a really good way of keeping things unbalanced in the world. And they keep things unbalanced just enough so that they keep the leverage in their favor. One of the ways they keep balance within their nation, which is the United States of America, is through fear. The fear of somebody coming and taking your stuff. The fear of somebody being better than you. The fear of there not being enough for everybody. The fear of racism. The fear of whatever, being poor or not having food or whatever. So they do this through a means of controlling us. And the news, like, I don't really watch the news too much. I mean, the news is great, but because it's informative, right? But to watch it all the time and just to be like in front of it for too long, like I can't do it. I like to know, and I'd rather read about it rather than hearing somebody's emotional interpretation or strategic psychological interpretation and how they're presenting the information to us. But it's based around fear, and fear is a crippler. It is a killer of dreams. It is a killer of people with greatness. And the whole point of this whole journey, and one of my life goals, is to help myself reach highest achievement, highest realization, and actualization, and to help other people around me to reach their highest potential and highest realization of GOAT. And that's the whole purpose of doing it. It's the whole purpose of doing it. Whole purpose of doing it. And that chapter right there just hit it right on the head. So with that, I hope you all have the greatest day of your life. I know I'm going to have my greatest day of my life today. Thank you for joining me. Everybody who jumped on the messenger board, thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't see your message, but thank you. I appreciate you letting me know that you're here and involved. If you like our morning sessions, please jump onto the Journey to Greatness Facebook page. We're at 31 likes. If we can get to 32, that would be awesome. And let me see here. I think that's it. So love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow at 5 a.m. Peace.